The midday sun beat down on the small churchyard, casting long shadows across the old stone building. Inside the chapel, Father Gabriel stood at the altar, his heart heavy with the growing tension in his parish. He was known for his integrity, his strict adherence to the principles of the Church. He had been sent to this parish 2 years ago to clean up a mess, one rooted deep within the Church's leadership. The parish council, a group that was supposed to manage the Church's affairs, had become entangled in corruption, mishandling funds, and abusing their power. Father Gabriel had made it his mission to reform them, but his efforts were met with resistance. The council had grown increasingly hostile toward him. The tighter Father Gabriel tried to rein in their excesses, the more determined they became to remove him. They couldn't stand his constant scrutiny, his unwillingness to look the other way while they drained the Church's resources for their own gain. But Father Gabriel was not a man to be swayed by threats or pressure. He believed in the sanctity of his duty and knew that he had a responsibility to the people of the parish, not to the corrupt council members. But the council had a plan, a way to bring him down without drawing attention to their own misdeeds. They decided they needed someone from the outside, someone who could get close to Father Gabriel, earn his trust, and then destroy him from within. That's when they found Ashley. Ashley was a woman with a difficult past. Once a survival worker, she had seen the darkest sides of life, struggling to survive in a world that had offered her nothing but hardship. When the council approached her, they knew exactly what to say, how to lure her into their scheme. They offered her money, more than she had ever dreamed of. All she had to do was bring Father Gabriel down. The plan was simple. She would join the Church, pretend to be a lost soul seeking redemption, and slowly work her way into Father Gabriel's life. It was a job, nothing more. She didn't care about the Church or the priest or whatever moral crusade he was on. All Ashley saw was a way out of her life of struggle. But deep down, there was a part of her, a small, quiet part, that was tired. Tired of pretending, tired of fighting, tired of the life she had been forced to live. And when she stepped into the church that first Sunday, she felt something stir inside her, something she hadn't felt in years. Hope. That day, after Mass, Ashley introduced herself as a new member of the congregation. Father Gabriel, as was his custom, warmly welcomed her, thanking her for attending. It was a tradition of his to meet with newcomers after the service, to ensure they felt like part of the community. But when Ashley approached him, she was different from the others. She looked nervous, almost unsure of herself. "Father," she said softly, "I've been going through some things, and I feel like I need help, guidance." Father Gabriel smiled gently. "Of course, Ashley. The Church is here to help you. If you'd like, we can meet one-on-one. I'm free during the week. How about we schedule some time to talk?" Ashley nodded, her heart pounding. "Yes, I'd like that. There's just so much on my mind. I don't even know where to begin." Father Gabriel reassured her. "We'll take it one step at a time. Just come as you are, and we'll talk." They scheduled their first meeting for the following Wednesday at the parish office. Ashley had to remind herself that this was part of the plan. The council had coached her well: build trust, earn his confidence, then find a way to ruin him. But as she walked away from the church that day, a part of her couldn't shake the feeling that maybe, just maybe, this was something more. On the day of their meeting, Ashley arrived at the parish office with a basket in hand. Inside were sandwiches and a fresh salad, Father Gabriel's favorite, as the council had informed her. She knocked on the door, her heart racing, her mind buzzing with the conflicting emotions she couldn't quite understand. Father Gabriel welcomed her warmly, offering her a seat. He didn't know about her past, her intentions, or the council's plan. To him, she was just another soul in need of guidance, another person looking to find her way to God. As they sat down, Ashley began to speak, telling Father Gabriel a fabricated story about her life. She told him she had come from a family of unbelievers, that she was lost, and that she desperately needed someone to help her understand God. She spoke with just enough truth mixed in to make her story believable, and Father Gabriel listened intently, nodding as she spoke. "You've been through a lot," he said kindly, "but you're here now, and that's what matters. God's grace is always waiting for those who seek it." Ashley handed him the basket, her fingers trembling slightly. I brought this for you, Father. It's just a small token of my appreciation. I know you're busy, and well, I thought you might like something to eat. Father Gabriel smiled, genuinely touched. Thank you, Ashley. That's very thoughtful of you. They continued to talk for nearly an hour, and by the end of the meeting, Ashley had done exactly what the council had asked. She had earned Father Gabriel's trust, and they scheduled another meeting for the following week. But as she left the parish office that day, something felt different. She wasn't sure if it was the way Father Gabriel had listened to her or the warmth in his words. But for the first time in a long time, Ashley felt a small glimmer of hope. The weeks passed, and Ashley continued to meet with Father Gabriel regularly. Each time, she found herself opening up more, sharing pieces of her real life with him. She didn't understand why, but she felt a strange sense of comfort around him, as if his presence alone was enough to make her feel safe. Father Gabriel, for his part, was pleased with the progress Ashley was making. He saw in her a woman who was truly searching for redemption, someone who had been broken by the world but was still trying to find her way back to God. He believed in her sincerity, not knowing the secret she carried. One evening, Ashley called Father Gabriel. Her voice was soft, almost pleading. Father, I've made something for you again. Your favorite, sandwiches and a special salad. I'd like to bring it to you. Father hesitated. He knew it wasn't appropriate to get too personal with parishioners, especially one as vulnerable as Ashley. But she had shown so much improvement, and she sounded so eager. He didn't want to hurt her feelings or make her feel rejected. That's very thoughtful, Ashley, he replied. I'm actually busy at the mission house today, preparing for an upcoming charity event. But if you'd like to drop it off here, I wouldn't want to turn down such a kind gesture. Ashley's heart skipped a beat. The mission house was private, away from the eyes of the public. It was the perfect place. Her first real attempt. Thank you, Father, she said softly. I'll be there soon. That evening, Ashley arrived at the mission house with a small basket in hand. The sun was beginning to set, casting a warm, golden glow over the garden outside. As she approached the door, her heart raced, her mind torn between the mission she had been given and the genuine feelings of respect she had developed for Father Gabriel. But the council's threats loomed large in her mind, and she knew she couldn't delay much longer. Father Gabriel welcomed her inside, still wearing his clerical shirt, though his collar was slightly undone after a long day. Thank you for coming all the way here, Ashley, he said, gesturing toward a small dining table. You really didn't have to go through the trouble. Ashley set the basket down, her fingers brushing lightly against his as she handed him a plate. It's no trouble at all, Father. You've done so much for me. It's the least I can do. They sat together at the table, and Ashley watched as Father Gabriel took a bite of the sandwich she had carefully prepared. He smiled, thanking her again for her kindness. But as the evening wore on, Ashley felt the tension in the room grow. The time had come. She needed to make her move. Father, she said softly, leaning forward slightly, I've been thinking a lot about our meetings, about everything you've taught me. You've helped me in ways I never thought possible. I don't know how to thank you. Father Gabriel looked at her, his brow furrowing slightly. You don't need to thank me, Ashley. It's my responsibility to help guide those who are searching for God. That's all I want. For you to grow closer to Him. Ashley bit her lip, her heart pounding. She reached across the table, her hand resting lightly on his. But it's more than that, Father. I feel so much more because of you. Her eyes softened, and she let her fingers linger on his hand, a deliberate, slow touch that was far more intimate than anything she had done before. Father Gabriel gently pulled his hand away, confusion crossing his face. Ashley, he said cautiously, I'm not sure what you mean. She stood up, walking slowly around the table, her eyes never leaving his. Her heart raced as she moved closer, her body language deliberate, seductive. She leaned down, placing one hand on his shoulder, her breath warm against his neck. I think you know exactly what I mean. Father Gabriel stood abruptly, stepping back. Ashley, this isn't right. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I just want to show you how much you mean to me, she interrupted, her voice low and sultry. You've been so good to me, Father. Let me be good to you. For a moment, the room was silent, the weight of her words hanging heavily between them. But then, Father Gabriel's face hardened, his voice steady and firm. Ashley, I'm a priest. My duty is to God and to the church. Whatever you're feeling, it's not right. I can't. He stopped, taking a deep breath, his expression softening. I won't. Ashley stepped back, her heart sinking as she realized what she had done. She had crossed a line, one she could never uncross. Father Gabriel's eyes were full of sadness, not anger, and that hurt more than anything. I'm sorry, she whispered, her voice trembling. I didn't mean... Father Gabriel shook his head gently. It's all right, Ashley. I know you're confused, and I know you've been through a lot. But this isn't the way. You're better than this. Ashley walked out of the mission house that night with her mind swirling in confusion, shame, and a strange sense of relief. Father Gabriel had not only resisted her attempt, but had shown her more compassion than she thought possible. His unwavering moral stance shook her to the core. For the first time in years, someone had looked beyond her actions and seen her, broken, yes, but still worthy of redemption. But as she walked back to her apartment, the dread of what was coming next began to settle in. The parish council had been patient up until now, but their tolerance had limits. Her failure would not go unnoticed, and she knew they wouldn't react kindly. The following day, she received the call she had been dreading. It was one of the council's shadowy enforcers, a man who went by the name of Victor. His voice was cold and menacing, devoid of the fake kindness the council had initially used to manipulate her. Ashley, he said sharply, we've been waiting for progress. What happened? She swallowed, her throat dry. It didn't go as planned, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Father Gabriel didn't. He didn't take the bait. There was silence on the other end of the line, and Ashley could feel the tension mounting. Finally, Victor spoke again, his tone even darker. You had one job, Ashley. We trusted you to handle this, and you've failed us. Her heart raced. I tried, I really did. But Father Gabriel isn't like other men. He's different. He's not going to fall into a trap like that. Victor's voice turned to a low growl. Different or not, we have a problem. The bishop is getting involved now. He's been watching this situation closely, and if Father Gabriel doesn't get out of the way, the whole church's corruption might be exposed. You need to fix this? Ashley's chest tightened with panic. What do you mean, fix it? I can't just... Figure it out. Victor interrupted, his voice ice cold. We're running out of time, and if you don't handle this soon, you'll wish you had. We've been very lenient with you, Ashley. Don't make us regret it. The line went dead, leaving Ashley standing in her apartment, trembling. She had failed to seduce Father Gabriel, and now the council was demanding more, something far worse than what she had initially signed up for. She felt trapped, like she was sinking deeper into a pit she couldn't escape. Over the next few weeks, Ashley continued to attend church, and Father Gabriel, unaware of the looming threat, continued to guide her spiritually. She threw herself into the church's activities, volunteering at the mission house and attending Bible study. She wanted desperately to escape the council's grasp, to redeem herself fully in the eyes of God, but she knew the council's patience was running thin. Father Gabriel noticed the change in her. She seemed more determined, more involved, but there was a shadow that lingered over her, a sense of fear that she couldn't quite hide. One afternoon, after Bible study, Father Gabriel asked Ashley to stay behind. As the others filed out of the room, he approached her with gentle concern in his eyes. Ashley, is everything all right? He asked. You've been working so hard, but something seems to be weighing you down. You know you can talk to me. Ashley's heart ached at his kindness. She wanted to tell him everything, to confess the council's plan, to beg for his help. But the fear of their retribution paralyzed her. She looked down, unable to meet his eyes. I'm fine, Father. Just tired, I guess. Father Gabriel frowned, not convinced, but he didn't press further. If you ever need to talk, I'm always here. You don't have to carry whatever burden you're holding onto alone. The following Sunday, Ashley sat in the pews, watching as Father Gabriel delivered his sermon. His voice was calm, steady, full of conviction as he spoke about faith and forgiveness. But Ashley could hardly focus. Her mind was racing, replaying Victor's threats over and over again. She knew that time was running out. After the service, Father Gabriel announced that he would be taking a few days off for a personal retreat, some time away from the parish to pray and reflect. As soon as Ashley heard the words, her stomach dropped. The council would see this as the perfect opportunity to strike. Father Gabriel would be alone, away from the protection of the church. Sure enough, that evening, Ashley received another call from Victor. Father Gabriel's retreat, he said, his voice dripping with malice. This is your chance. We need to remove him from the picture before he gets too powerful. Ashley felt a wave of nausea. What do you mean, remove him? You know exactly what I mean, Victor said coldly. This has gone on long enough. Father Gabriel is a problem, and problems need to be solved. Permanently. Ashley's heart pounded in her chest. They were asking her to do the unthinkable. I can't, she stammered, her voice shaking. I can't do that. Victor's voice turned icy. You don't have a choice, Ashley. Either you do what needs to be done, or you'll find yourself in more trouble than you can imagine. You've failed us once. Don't make the same mistake again. The call ended, and Ashley collapsed onto the floor, tears streaming down her face. She couldn't kill Father Gabriel. She couldn't betray him like that. But if she didn't, the council would come after her. The night before Father Gabriel's retreat, Ashley sat in her apartment, her mind racing. She couldn't see a way out. The council would never let her go, and she couldn't bring herself to harm Father Gabriel. She was trapped, but as she sat there, something stirred within her, a small, flickering flame of courage. She thought back to all the things Father Gabriel had taught her, the talks about faith, forgiveness, and God's unwavering love. For the first time in her life, she realized that she had a choice. She could continue to live in fear, or she could stand up and do what was right, no matter the cost. That night, Ashley made a decision. The next morning, as Father Gabriel prepared to leave for his retreat, he was surprised to find Ashley waiting for him outside the church. She looked pale, her eyes filled with determination and fear. Ashley, he said concerned, what are you doing here? She took a deep breath, her hands trembling. Father, I need to tell you something. Something terrible. I can't keep it to myself any longer. Father Gabriel frowned, sensing the gravity of her words. Whatever it is, you can tell me. I'm here. Tears welled up in Ashley's eyes as she confessed everything. The council's plan, their threats, her attempts to bring him down. She told him about Victor, about the demands they had placed on her, and how they were now asking her to do something far worse. Father Gabriel listened in silence, his face grave but compassionate. When she finished, he placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. Ashley, you've been through so much, he said softly. But you've made the right choice in telling me. We'll face this together. Ashley sobbed, her guilt and fear pouring out of her. I'm so sorry, Father. I didn't know what else to do. Father Gabriel nodded, his expression calm but resolute. We'll go to the authorities. The council's corruption needs to be exposed. But you don't have to do this alone, Ashley. You're not alone anymore. In the days that followed, Ashley and Father Gabriel worked together to bring the council's corruption to light. It wasn't easy, and there were moments when Ashley feared for her life. But with Father Gabriel's support and the protection of the church, they were able to expose the council's illegal activities, bringing justice to the parish. As the dust settled, Ashley began to rebuild her life, no longer weighed down by the darkness of her past. She continued to attend church, finding peace in her growing faith. Father Gabriel remained a constant presence, guiding her with patience and understanding. In the end, it wasn't just Father Gabriel who had touched Ashley's life. It was the grace of God, working through him, that had saved her from the abyss. Ashley had found redemption, not in the plan she had been forced to carry out, but in the choice she had made to turn away from the darkness and embrace the light. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up. It helps us reach more people. We'd love to hear your thoughts, so share your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications to stay updated on all our future videos. We have exciting content coming your way, and we can't wait to share it with you. Thank you for your support, and let's continue building a positive community together. See you in the next video.